The morning sun cast long shadows across the cobblestone streets of New Terra Colony, humanity's first successful settlement on Draken Prime. Jasmine wiped the flour from her hands and glanced through the bakery window at the massive creature sitting patiently outside again. The dragon had been coming every morning for 3 weeks now. It wasn't like the mythical beasts from Earth's ancient stories. This was a genuine draconian, one of the indigenous sapient species that had inhabited this planet long before humans arrived. Standing nearly 4 meters tall even while sitting, its scales shimmered with an iridescent purple blue that caught the dawn light. Steam occasionally puffed from its nostrils as it sat there, utterly still, golden eyes fixed on the bakery's entrance. "It's here again," Kevin said, adjusting his apron as he pulled another batch of sourdough from the quantum oven. He was Jasmine's assistant and childhood friend, having grown up with her in the cramped quarters of the generation ship that brought their families to this world. "I know," Jasmine replied softly. At the same time, the same spot. The other colonists had grown nervous. Dragon's draconians were respected members of the Galactic Council, but they were also apex predators with a reputation for being fiercely territorial. The fact that one had taken such interest in a human establishment was unusual. "Maybe we should report it to the colonial administrator," Kevin suggested. "Not for the first time." Jasmine shook her head. "It hasn't done anything threatening. It just sits there." She'd noticed something the others hadn't. Every time she opened the bakery doors to let the morning air circulate, carrying with it the scent of fresh bread, the dragon's eyes would close. Its massive chest would expand as it drew in deep, deliberate breaths, and for just a moment, something that looked remarkably like contentment would cross its alien features. It was smelling the bread. That realization had struck Jasmine 3 days ago, and she hadn't been able to stop thinking about it since. Humans had spread across the galaxy with their stubborn determination and adaptability, earning grudging respect from older species who'd initially dismissed them as primitive. But humanity's real secret weapon, Jasmine believed, wasn't their technology or their tenacity. It was their ability to find connection in the smallest, most unexpected places. On the 4th week, Jasmine made a decision. "Kevin, take over for a moment," she said, removing her apron. "What are you doing?" Kevin's voice pitched higher with concern. "Something probably stupid," she admitted, selecting a fresh loaf of honey wheat bread from the cooling rack. The crust was golden brown, the interior soft and aromatic. It was one of her best batches. She pushed open the bakery door and stepped outside. The dragon's eyes snapped open immediately, focusing on her with predatory intensity. Up close, it was even more imposing. Jasmine could see the ridges of ancient scars beneath its scales, the powerful muscles coiled in its limbs. This was a warrior, she realized, a veteran of conflicts she couldn't even imagine. Her hands trembled slightly, but she held the bread out in front of her. "I've seen you watching," Jasmine said, her voice steadier than she felt. "Every morning. I thought, maybe you'd like to try some." For a long moment, the dragon didn't move. Then, slowly, it lowered its massive head toward her. This close, Jasmine could see the intricate patterns in its scales, smell the strange metallic scent of its breath. The dragon inhaled deeply, its nostrils flaring as it took in the bread's aroma. When it finally spoke, its voice was a deep rumble that she felt in her bones, the translator implant in her ear converting the clicks and growls into words. "I have not smelled this scent in 217 of your years," the dragon said. Jasmine blinked. "Bread. Home," the dragon corrected. "My mate before the war, she would cultivate grain on our thermal plains. The process was different, but the essence, the warmth, the comfort." The dragon's eyes, she realized with shock, were glistening. "She died when the Krovar invaded our world, before humans came to the stars, before the council, before everything changed." Understanding crashed over Jasmine like a wave. "The smell reminds you of her, of home," the dragon repeated. "Of a time before I became what the galaxy needed me to be, a time when I was simply content." Jasmine felt her own eyes burning. She'd read about the Draconian Wars, the ancient conflicts that had nearly destroyed their species. These beings had sacrificed so much to maintain galactic peace, had become warriors when they'd once been farmers and artists and apparently bakers here, she said, breaking off a piece of the bread and holding it up. "Please." The dragon hesitated, then carefully, with surprising delicacy, took the bread between 2 claws. It placed the piece in its mouth and closed its eyes. Kevin had emerged from the bakery now, watching in stunned silence along with several other colonists who'd gathered at a safe distance. When the dragon opened its eyes again, there was something different in its gaze, something softer. "Thank you, small baker," it said. "I am called Thraxaskor, once of the thermal plains, now of the Council Guard. For 3 weeks I have sat here, afraid to approach, or afraid that speaking would break the fragile piece your bread granted me. You have given me a gift I did not know I could still receive. You're welcome to come inside," Jasmine offered. "The door might be a bit small, but we can bring bread out here every morning. If you'd like." "I would like that very much," Thraxaskor said, and so began an unlikely friendship that would become legendary across the colony. Every morning the dragon would come, and Jasmine would bring fresh bread. They would talk about Thraxiscore's lost world, about Earth and its own complicated history, about the price of survival and the unexpected places where healing could be found. Kevin eventually warmed to their unusual patron, even developing a special high-protein grain blend that better suited draconian digestion. Other species began to take notice. If humans could forge bonds with even the most unlikely beings, simply through sharing something as humble as bread, then perhaps humanity's place among the stars was more secure than anyone had imagined. Because that was the thing about humans, they didn't conquer with weapons, or intimidate with power. They conquered with stubborn kindness, with the willingness to see the person behind the predator, the grief behind the warrior's facade. They conquered with bread, and patience, and the simple question, would you like to try some? And sometimes, in a galaxy vast and cold and ancient, that was exactly what heroes looked like. The end.